What's up, YouTube? It's your girl April and I'm back with another video. So today I kind of wanted to get personal and I wanted to share kind of my life story, but one part of my life basically, which was when I had my daughter, and I was fairly young, so I just kind of wanted to share it, the experience and how I turned out and everything. So Pete, my roommate in the background, by the way. So and also be advised, there are some very real parts of my story that I'm going to share, and if you're very heavy-hearted, I would beware. So and this is also a warning video too, because the internet's scary. So back when I was 13, I started getting into the app Meet Me and started getting into like that and talking to guys. And I met this guy, and he said that he wanted to hang out. And so I was like, sure. I was like, but my parents aren't asleep, and like, you can't come over and all sorts of stuff. He's like, it's cool. Where do you live? And I was like, we can like meet at the golf parking lot across from my house. And he's like, sure. And I was like, okay. So we met up over there, and I was hanging out with him, and then he kissed me, and that was like my first real kiss. I thought it was my real kiss. Because I thought he liked me, and him and I ended up doing the deed. And then his friend ended up chiming in and asking, and I said no, and he asked again, and I said no, and then he locked the car door, and they both did the deed without permission. And so then after that, I ran home, and I was wanting to speak to my neighbor's mom, but she was busy, so I told my neighbors, and they were like holding me while I was crying and screaming, and then they ran over and told my parents. My parents told me to come home, and so I came home, and we sat and talked about it. My dad was very angry, my mom was very angry, and so I ended up just taking a shower and going to sleep, crying, obviously. I didn't even really sleep, I don't think. It was kind of like I thought I slept, but then like the next thing I remember, it's like morning time. I don't remember most of that night. And then I wake up and I go outside, and my house is toilet papered, and toilet paper that has the word whore on it. And the only people that really know where I live and know what happened was my neighbor and her friend, and they didn't really like me. So like that hurt too. So I started crying right inside. My parents were angry, complained to her mom. Her mom said she would never do that. And we were like, whatever. Obviously it was your daughter, and she took what I said and decided to be an butthead about it. Well, I can say asshole. She decided to be an asshole about it. And so then after that, I didn't get my period, and so I was talking to my mom, and she's like, well, we can go get pregnancy tests just to be sure, but I don't think you're pregnant. And she's like, but we don't know. So we got pregnancy tests, and it was very like real. So she was freaking out, I was freaking out. We yelled at each other because she thought she put the timer on 2 hours instead of 2 minutes, and so she was like, you have to pee, keep peeing. And I was like, Mom, the timer's on 2 hours, like I'm not peeing for 2 hours. It was really stupid. So they both came out negative because I took 2. And so then I still didn't feel good, and I was getting sick, and so we went to the doctor, and you know, the normal is you pee in a cup and everything just so they make sure you're okay. So I peed in a cup. And so after that, I asked her for lollipops. She's like, yeah, I'll grab you one. And she came back and she had 4 in her hand. And I remember thinking, she never grabs me this many, there's something going on. And so she steps in the room, she shuts the door, and she had like this like worried / like ugh, I hate giving news. And she's like, well, you're pregnant. And I'm like, no. And my mom's like, what? And I'm like, no. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, no. And I was crying, saying I can't go home. My mom was freaking out. My sister called, seeing how long the appointment would be, because she was out in the waiting room, and she flipped a table. She freaked out. She stormed out. She ended up walking home. My mom told my dad, and I was like, hey, Dad, can you get me Sonic? And he's like, yeah. And then he hung up. And so when we got home, I was just eating in my bed, like, and may I remind you, they moved my bed upstairs because they wanted to watch me. I couldn't have a phone. Like, they wanted to make sure this was not going to happen to me again. And so then, like, later on, like a month, the law got involved, and so like I ended up going to like this rape trauma center, and they ended up like asking me questions, and then they were like, they went on to meet me and like went through the back way and like went in and searched for the guys because I didn't know their name or their thing. They blocked me after. And so they went in, they found them, they contacted them and told them that they had to be at the courthouse. And so then they were at the courthouse and they signed over their rights for my daughter so I could give her up for adoption. And like, that wasn't what I wanted to do. It was what my parents wanted to do because they're in their 80s, they're in their 70s. My dad is 77, my mom is 73. So they were in their 70s and they couldn't take care of a kid. And it was just kind of like, yeah. And I was also really young. So imagining trying to raise a kid at 13, like, and my parents were that old, like we couldn't do it. So then they signed over their rights and I got sent to a girls' home. My parents couldn't handle me because what happened to me really affected me and I ended up acting out, and they were like, we can't handle this, like we're too old, we can't do this. Because I also have 2 other siblings who were going through drug abuse and alcohol abuse. It's like they couldn't do it. So I got sent to a girls' home and ended up like finding God, maturing like really, really well, and then ended up having my baby. I found an adoptive family for her. They're really great. They love her. She knows I'm her mom. I get to see pictures of her. I've gotten to see her. She's a great baby. And so like looking back at it, I don't think if I would have gone through that, I would be the person I am today. I don't think I would be so understanding of people's issues and so like willing to help and be there for people and like do good things for people and like bless them with things that I do, because like just me, my personality and how sweet and nice I am is a blessing for people. So like just being there for people is great, but I don't think I would be where I am or how it happened. Like I don't think I would be where I am unless it happened, which is sad, kind of sad to say, but then also like it really helped me. So like I know people who have gone through it maybe don't act the same way I do, and it's really hard to get over, but definitely know that there's people like me that you can definitely talk to and reach out to who will listen and understand what's going on. I know with all of what's going on in the world right now, this is still an issue, and it's not being brought to attention like the Black Lives Matter issue is, but it is still an issue. So definitely, if you went through what I went through, definitely reach out, definitely talk. It's great to do that because it definitely helped me. So that is my story about me getting pregnant at 13. Definitely a whirlwind of adventures since then, and I will definitely have another video for that and all those adventures. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment, tell me how you're feeling today. Tell me what you ate for breakfast, if you ate breakfast. That's a weird thing, but I just kind of, I didn't eat breakfast, so why not wonder what you guys eat for breakfast. Anywho, as I said, comment, like, subscribe, follow my Instagram, and just have a wonderful day.